Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video today we're checking out 14 things you didn't know about Denmark, mind-blowing fun facts about Denmark. I don't really know much about Denmark going into this video, but my viewers from Denmark have told me to check out this video. So if you guys want more videos like this, make sure to go check out the original creator called Robe Trottins. So let's get right into it for today. Let's go.
Thank God you're here, because today we're going to blow your mind with 14 things that you don't know about Denmark.
I like the effect there, that was cool.
We're shooting this at Grobutor. Jeg kan kun tale lidt dansk. That means I only speak a little Danish, so you're probably going to be frustrated with how poorly I mispronounce the Danish names of some of the places and things we're going to talk about today. Hopefully you won't be too upset. Be nice to us in the comments below. We decided to shoot this video here because it was suggested by a viewer named Michael, who said this was his favorite square in Copenhagen. We agree, so we came here today to start out today's video.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. That is a great location for a backdrop. I mean, look how beautiful the different colored buildings are.
Yeah. Do you have a suggestion for us? Leave it in the comments and maybe we'll go there to shoot our next video. Now, let's get rolling.
Welcome to Rope Trotting. We're Derek and Mike, an American couple who moved from the US to Copenhagen in 2017. Our channel is all about living abroad and traveling the world. Every Thursday, we drop our most candid advice and tips based on our lives as expats and explorers. For more, be sure to visit our companion site, ropetrotting.com, with a link in the description below.
You may not know it, but Denmark is the oldest kingdom in Europe, and it's one of the oldest monarchies in the world. Now, Japan states that its king can be traced back to 660 BCE, but that's based on a legend. The current queen of Denmark, Queen Margrethe II, can trace her lineage back to 900 AD and the Viking king Gorm the Old. She's also a renowned designer and has even designed the costumes for the Danish Royal Ballet.
Wow.
Since the 1500s, all Danish kings have been named either Christian or Frederick. The current queen's father and son are both named Frederik. So I guess she's keeping the tradition alive. Her eldest son Frederik will one day inherit the Danish throne. He's married to Princess Mary, who's Australian, and she studied Danish at the same language school that we did, although she speaks it a little bit better than us. And you may be wondering about the castle over my shoulder. That's Rosenborg Castle, which houses artifacts from over 400 years of Danish history, including the crown jewels of Denmark and the coronation thrones.
Now, something that might surprise you about Denmark is actually it has tons of beaches. There's no point in Denmark that's actually farther than 32 miles or 52 kilometers from the sea. So the sea is everywhere and you can find beaches all over the country. Along with beaches everywhere, Denmark is full of islands. There's 443 islands in total, though only about 76 are inhabited. Some of these islands are major islands too. Copenhagen sits across two islands, a major island called Sjælland and a smaller one called Amager. Now, although you may not think of Denmark as a beach country, Danes come to the beach all year round. In the summertime, where we are right now, a beach called Amagerstrand is filled with people enjoying the water or just barbecuing and relaxing in the sand. In the wintertime, you also find people jumping into the sea.
Jumping into the sea at wintertime is crazy. The cold, especially in a country like Denmark. Damn.
Bathing is a major part of Danish culture, even though we still find it a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Beyond the beaches, the sea dictates so much of Danish culture. Danish cuisine has lots of fish, especially pickled herring. When it comes to sports, the Olympic sport where Danes have won the most Olympic medals is sailing. And of course, Denmark is famous for the Vikings that come from the sea.
That is true.
Now, I hope this doesn't change your breakfast plans, but the pastries that you may know as Danish actually don't originate from Denmark. In fact, their origin comes from Austria. You see, in 1850, Denmark had a labor dispute. That's when all of the bakers went on strike, and foreign bakers had to be brought in to, well, bake. That included many from Austria, and they brought with them recipes and different kinds of treats that the Danes weren't used to. Now, the Danes loved these new recipes, so even after the strike was over, they decided to keep some of the techniques, recipes, and treats that the Viennese bakers brought with them, and now we call them Danishes. But the Danish word for these pastries is wienerbrød, or Viennese bread, so there's a clue in the word. I guess it's all thanks to history.
What? So Danishes are not from Denmark, they're from Austria. What? That's probably the most mind-blowing fact I've seen in this video so far. There have been a lot of interesting facts, but that just blew my mind. Everything I know is a lie.
Delicious history.
Did you know that Denmark claims the North Pole?
Denmark's claim stems from an undersea mountain ridge that runs from the top of Greenland to the North Pole. Now this may surprise you because the North Pole is in the middle of the Arctic Ocean. But with immense mineral wealth potentially under the Arctic Ocean, Denmark, Russia, and Canada are all making claims that include the North Pole.
Now, one thing I bet you didn't know about Denmark is that it's home to two of the world's 3 oldest amusement parks. The first is Bakken. Bakken is located in Klampenborg, north of Copenhagen. Bakken opened in 1583. That was the year that they discovered a natural spring water source up in Klampenborg. Because the water in Copenhagen City was, not so tasty, a lot of locals ended up making the trip up to Klampenborg to collect water, and it soon became so popular that the area attracted merchants, entertainers, and performers, and over the centuries, it became an amusement area. Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen is the 3rd oldest in the world, and it's a bit more widely known. It opened in 1843, and it stands right behind us. The founder obtained a 5-year lease to open an amusement park in Copenhagen. He told the king at the time, if people are amused, they have no time to worry about politics.
I mean, that's
Keep in mind,
true.
this was about a generation after the French Revolution, so the Danish king was very inclined to keep the people of Denmark happy. Well, I think it's easy to say that Tivoli has kept the people of Denmark happy, as well as the people of the world. If you want to see more of Tivoli, you can check out our recent video on Tivoli at Christmas. It's 3 minutes long and gives you all the highlights of the fantastic amusement park.
Something that might surprise you is that Lego, the beloved toy brand, actually comes from Denmark.
Okay, that's one of the few things I did know. I did know Lego comes from Denmark. And we have a massive Lego store in central London. It looks like you guys also have one, which makes sense if it's from there.
Lego was founded in 1932 in the Danish town of Billund in Jutland and has been a favorite for kids ever since. The name Lego is actually a play on words from the Danish phrase "leg godt," which means play well. Beyond being a kid's favorite toy, Lego is also a fascinating business case to look into. In the early 2000s, the company was losing relevance, but was able to reinvent itself through some awesome branding deals with DC Comics, Star Wars, and other branding opportunities. Additionally,
yeah, literally as a kid, I used to love Lego Star Wars. I was like obsessed with that. I used to try and get the sets, but some of them were so expensive, man. It's crazy.
It's trying to convert itself into a much more green company, looking for alternatives to plastic for its famous bricks. And actually, one other fun fact about Lego, it's the world's largest manufacturer of rubber tires. Think about all those tires that go on all the Lego toys that are out there.
Now, it may surprise you to learn that Denmark is actually an oil-producing country. In fact, it's the largest oil producer in the EU. Thanks, Brexit. This is due to the vast offshore oil fields in the North Sea. But don't get it wrong, Denmark is still a leader in green energy, with over 40% of its energy coming from wind farms in the same North Sea area. And the city of Copenhagen is leading the way with an initiative to be completely carbon neutral by 2025. Now, even though they're the largest producer of oil in the EU, Denmark announced this year that they are not permitting any more drilling in the North Sea.
Another thing that might surprise you is Copenhagen is often rated as one of the best bicycle cities in the world. In fact, nearly half of the trips made to school or to work in Copenhagen are made by bike. So even though Copenhagen has a world-class public transit network, still, bike is the easiest way to get around town. And part of the reason why it's so easy is that the city has made major investments in infrastructure, where we have dedicated bike lanes and even bike traffic lights that ensure that bikes can keep moving along at rush hour. We also have bike...
See, that's what we need. We do have some bike lanes, and we don't really have any bike traffic lights, to be honest. So you get cyclists just going through, like, even if the main traffic lights are red, they'll just still go through. So I feel we need more laws and kind of better things for cyclists to make it easier just for everyone.
Bridges over the harbor to make it easy to get from one side of the city to another. One of the most unique things about biking culture here is something called a Christiania bike. A Christiania bike is basically a tricycle in reverse with 2 wheels in the front and one in the back, and a big box for cargo on the front of the bike. These are iconic and were invented in the Christiania neighborhood in the 70s. They're especially perfect for families with kids because they can put the kids in the front of the bike.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Now, Sweden has ABBA, but you may be wondering, who are some of the famous Danish people that you might know? Well, if you watch Game of Thrones, then you might know that Jaime Lannister and Euron Greyjoy are both Danish. We even saw Euron Greyjoy at the grocery store once, but Mike wouldn't let me go take a photo with him. Other noteworthy Danes that you may have heard of are Hans Christian Andersen, the famous writer,
the name, yeah.
and Niels Bohr, the famous scientist. There's also the famous existential philosopher, Søren Kierkegaard. Maybe he can tell me the meaning of life.
Now, Derek mentioned how famous Danes have discovered the atom, created existentialism, even slayed the Mad King. But you may be surprised by how big of a cultural impact Hans Christian Andersen has today. Hans Christian Andersen was born in the Danish city of Odense, but lived most of his life here in Copenhagen. He wrote dozens and dozens of children's stories that still resonate to this day. Disney took his Little Mermaid and the Snow Queen to create The Little Mermaid and Frozen.
Snow White. Oh,
and
Frozen.
Other children's stories like The Ugly Duckling or The Emperor's New Clothes are not only for kids, but part of everyday life. Today you can see his influence all over the city of Copenhagen. A statue of the Little Mermaid has become an iconic symbol of Copenhagen. The main boulevard through the center of the city is called Hans Christian Andersen Boulevard, or H.C. Andersen in Danish. And you can visit his...
I mean, the impact he's had on culture is kind of crazy because The Little Mermaid is still popular now. Obviously, Frozen is one of the biggest films of all time. The Emperor's New Clothes, that's one of the most famous stories of all time. Wow.
Hans Christian Andersen Boulevard, or H.C. Andersen in Danish. And you can visit his grave in the Assistance Cemetery in the Nørrebro neighborhood. And even behind us, you can see a statue of him here in the King's Garden.
You may not know this, but Denmark is the fourth flattest country on Earth. Only the Maldives, Qatar, and the Netherlands are lower elevation than Denmark. The highest point in Denmark is only 561 feet above sea level. For centuries, everyone believed that a hill called Himmelberg was actually the highest point in Denmark. It even translates to Heaven Mountain. Eventually, surveying technology improved and it was discovered that the highest point was actually on a nearby farm. The only thing that existed on the spot at the time was a mill, but I guess it's now a much cooler mill because it's the highest point in Denmark.
Another thing that might surprise you about Denmark is it has the oldest flag in the world. The flag,
Really?
known as the Dannebrog, dates back to 1219 and is said to descend from heaven. So the way the story goes is that the Danes were in a great battle in modern-day Estonia. The Danes were losing the battle and had a bishop go to the top of a hill. The bishop stood on the hill and raised his arms. Every time he raised his arms, the Danes moved forward and were towards victory. But he got tired and his arms fell down and the Danes started falling back. Just when the battle was lost, the king, Valdemar II, looked up and saw a white cross on a red field come down from the sky. It was the flag. He took it in his hand, showed it to his troops, and steeled with courage, they went on to win the day. So not only does the flag have an awesome story, but it's a key part of Danish culture today. You'll find the Danish flag everywhere. It's a major part of celebrations. So at Christmas, you'll find Christmas trees decorated with Danish flags on strings around the tree.
That's cool.
And when it's your birthday, your coworkers will decorate your desk in Danish flags. And when you go out for dinner that evening, they'll put a little Danish flag on a flagpole in front of you while you eat.
Now, you may not be surprised that Denmark is a very progressive and liberal country. Denmark values all of its citizens equally, so it probably won't surprise you that it's always been on the forefront of LGBT rights. But what you may not know is that Denmark was the first country in the world to have a same-sex union. In 1989, the first same-sex civil union was performed right behind me at Copenhagen City Hall. In fact, it's now called Rainbow Plots, this area that I'm standing in now. In fact, to commemorate that milestone, a rainbow flag flies here at Rainbow Plots all year long, not just during Pride Month. Copenhagen is also the home for World Pride 2021, and Crown Princess Mary is a royal patron of that event. It's the first time a royal of any country has ever been involved in World Pride. Pretty cool. The next time you're in...
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that's the first time for a royal to ever be involved in Pride, to be fair, in any country. That's kind of shocking.
Copenhagen, make sure to come to Rainbow Plots and check out the flag. You can even walk down the street one block and have a drink at the world's oldest gay bar. It's called Central Hynet, and it was founded in 1917. That's over 100 years of gay bar history in Copenhagen.
Despite a reputation for healthy living, one surprising thing about Denmark is how much vices like drinking and smoking are a part of culture. Denmark ranks 25th globally in alcohol consumption, and in truth, it's much higher among the young. Nominally, the drinking age here is 16, but I can be honest, I've never seen a single person ID'd when they buy alcohol in a grocery store, and a lot of them look a lot younger than 16. Smoking is also a lot more...
Really? You don't get ID'd when you go get alcohol in a grocery store? Literally in the UK, they ID you now if you want a Red Bull. It's so annoying, like... It's so, they literally ID you, or they have to check, or they have to approve it if you're under 16. Or even if you're older than 16, they still have to do it. It's so annoying, even if, just for a little Red Bull.
More common than we expected coming from the US. Many bars still permit smoking, and when you walk in, it looks like a scene from Mad
Oh, I
Men.
don't like that. I don't like that.
In fact, smoking is so common, the Queen smokes, though in recent years she's made sure to do it in private so as not to influence young kids. And with alcohol, there's no open container laws, or at least where there are, they're not openly enforced. So it's really common to meet friends and just hang out in a park or on the harbor and have a few beers when the weather is nice. In fact, that's one thing Derek and I are doing here today. Skull.
Skull.
That was a good transition.
Now we hope we surprised you and that you enjoyed our video. Make sure you give it a like and a comment below to let us know what surprised you the most.
And be sure to subscribe so you can check out our new videos when they drop every Thursday.
Skull.
Skull.
Okay, so what surprised me the most, probably about the oldest flag. Like that's a bit surprising. I wasn't expecting that. About Danes not being from Denmark. That kind of surprised me. Like, I'm really surprised by that. About the impact of Hans Christian Andersen had on the world really with his stories. And also about them trying to claim the North Pole. That's kind of crazy as well. The bit about oil, about them being the largest oil provider in the EU, definitely very surprising. I did not know that. And the fact that they're going to stop drilling in the ocean as well to get the oil, when that's like a massive source of income, of course, because oil is worth a lot of money. That's kind of surprising too. Just a lot of interesting facts I didn't know about Denmark in this video. If you guys want more reaction videos like this, let me know, and make sure to go subscribe to the original creator. Their name is Robetrotten. Their link will be down in the description down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, everyone. And also, if there's anything that they missed, feel free to comment down below. I'll read the comments. See you guys in the next video. Have a great day, everyone.